Hey everybody, we're live from the world's smallest farmers market, unconfirmed. Glad you all are here with us today. We've got pretty much a full slate of vendors for our farmers market today. We've got our vendors with our duck eggs, and they brought pickled duck eggs, they brought banana bread, um, they brought fresh mint, Prairie Rose is back. Hi Brenda, how are you? We've got Prairie Rose is back with all of her lotions and soaps and everything, and she brought fresh greens. Um, we brought to the farmers market, we brought some fresh kale. We've already sold it. We brought some onions, some fresh mulberries, dry ridge cake, which is a cake that my mom makes. It has like brown sugar crumble and pecans in it. It's a really moist cake. We brought eggs, Lisa's candles. Yeah, don't forget your candle.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we brought fresh chicken today. And then Mary brought all of her baked goods, her pies and her take and bakes and stuff.
Canned goods.
And all her canned goods with her jellies. So we're so glad that you guys are with us today. Nana and I have had a busy day. Nana's been chasing around the farm boss because the farm boss has been spending the day with her today. I actually had to go back into work and get ready for an upcoming part of my work. So I've spent most of the day there. Oh yeah, there's lots of goodies here, Brenda. But we've been trying to clean up some of our storm damage. I went out and dug. I did have some new potatoes, but they're only about this big, and it was so wet I only found a handful and decided not to bring them. Hello, 12 Stones Ranch. How are you doing? Maybe we can get Nana here to be running the chat for us. Because it's hard for me to see that. How do I sound on there? Can you hear me very good there, 12 Stones? But we've got a full week planned out for this weekend, basically.
Wonderful. Sounds great.
Well, thank you for that. We've got a bunch more work to do. I've got my videos coming out to go along with How We Can't Farm Like Justin Rhodes. One of them will come out tomorrow afternoon. The first installment of that, I'm going to have about 8 videos that goes along with that. Big milestone, if you guys didn't see, that we posted this week was that we have 900 subscribers. Thank you, because that's from all you guys. We appreciate that, and we're so glad that you're all with us.
Getting closer to that 1,000.
We shared a little bit on our storm video. If you didn't watch all of that or watch toward the end, maybe you didn't catch that. We went out to the Pathways homestead on Monday. And visited with Gary and Cindy and seen their homestead, and I'm telling you guys, it's awesome. Their gardens and all their animals on the homestead. They fed us lunch, and it was amazing. They fed us some Pathways beef and Pathways pork, and it was really good on the grill. Made us fresh garden salad right out of their garden, and you know, there's something to that. Hi, Simply Jan, how are you doing? And then while we were there, we met some new friends that come and visit that we just met, and it's Jean and Joyce from Morris Patch of Heaven Homestead, and
They're wonderful.
they're wonderful people, and we look forward to spending some more time with both of those channels. We spent a lot of time with fellowship with them, and just talking and hanging out and getting to know one another. Spent a lot of time walking around the farm and visiting and just sitting under the shade tree. Had some ice cream, homemade ice cream from Cindy's Jersey milk cow. And then she mixed it all up and we sat there with the ice cream maker until it got done mixing. Hey, how are you doing, Josh at Skinner Farms? We spent a lot of time sitting under that shade tree and just visiting and getting to know one another. I recommend you guys to, if you are not familiar with their channels, to go to both of those channels. That's Pathways Homestead and Morris Patch of Heaven. And I have links in my last video to their channels, and I'll put links on this once I post it to both of them, or Brenda, if you can find those and post those, or Jan. But Jan is kind of like us. We've kind of had a little rocky night the other night with the storms coming through. You know, we had 65 mile per hour winds. There's been a lot of damage around, so we're just thankful that everything is okay. We had minimal damage really at the house, other than Mom lost her smoke tree, which is fine with me because I hated the ugly little thing, but there's part of it still standing, so she still got a little tree of it standing, but I got to take care of that this weekend.
Yep.
Hi, how are you doing, Homestead, where you are? And you had a lot of damage in the yard, did you? We've got to work on this poisonous hemp problem that we've got. So we're going to try to look into that this weekend and see what we got going on the chat. Gathered together. Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, that is right. Gene and Joyce. You kept their pigs for 8 months? That's awesome. Well, they were talking about how their pigs were done all the work for them in their garden and got their garden going. Gene was asking all kinds of questions to Gary about his pig. He's like, we couldn't have kept our pigs in a pen like this because he had cattle panel or hog panels set up. But we're pretty excited.
Yes, we have whole chickens.
We've got whole chickens. $3.50 a pound.
They're roughly 3 pounds.
They're about 3 pounds.
Okay.
Or I got halves at $4 a pound.
I'll probably just do let me do a whole chicken this time.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me get just get me one and tell me how much I owe you, Bill.
Okay.
Okay.
I gotta get a chicken out here, guys. Fresh chicken. So we will let you know how it goes, CNC Farm. We're a little nervous about it.
Oh,
Can you
he's heard
figure it
once
out?
you've had it, you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, 320. Can you figure that up? Hi, how are you doing, Mitchell? Good to see you.
I'm not gonna
Hey,
figure it
make
out
sure
on
you
the
guys go
calendar.
check out Mitchell's channel. He's been putting out a lot of good content here lately. You know, we've talked a lot on the phone. Hopefully we can get together.
Well, what did you say it was?
3.21. We're gonna order some new meat chicks this week to put out on the pasture.
Double count me, I think
That's my plan too. We got a lot of cattle panels. We're gonna set up more pens out in the brush with cattle panel pens. We're gonna make little paddocks and move them down through there.
Oh, I gave you Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So we're flirting with, we've always done Cornish cross, and we love them. They grow super fast. These here, we had a lot of requests last year for this last fall for them to be smaller because we were selling a lot of 6 and 7 pound chickens, and so we cut these off early and butchered them. A lot of people like that smaller bird. So instead, what we're thinking about doing is we're going to get half of our meat birds as Cornish cross. And I don't know, has any of you guys ever tried? It's called a color yield Freedom Ranger. We're looking at them for the sole purpose of, to become more sustainable, we can keep a couple of the hens, 2 or 3 of the hens and a rooster, and raise our own. It's kind of our thought process with them. But we're planning on running about half Cornish cross and half of those color yield Freedom Rangers. Our experience that we've been around is that the Freedom Ranger is a little better flavored than the Cornish cross. Doesn't grow quite as big as the Cornish cross does, but
How are we today? Good?
good. How are
Good,
you?
how are you?
I'm good. Fresh?
Yes.
Yep,
How much of them?
$3.
$3 a dozen. Yep, they're fresh. We got mulberries, we got chicken, butchered chicken, pastured, and the dry ridge cake. You got
What
your,
are them there?
that's dry ridge cake that Shotzi makes, and they're $6.
These are all prairie fed, right?
Yes.
Well, they're, you bet, called our front yard
Yes.
and all around the farmstead.
Yeah, I need to get them to turn out in the garden every day.
Yeah, I hear you. They're more hardy. See, that's what we're thinking gathered together, is that those Freedom Rangers are a little more hardy bird. And they're a little slower growing, so we can get a little longer time on the grass with them for the same amount of feed. And maybe being able to keep a few of them for our own sustainability, to raise our own on the farm. I mean, I've got 2 of the 1502 Sportsman GQF incubators, so I can hatch out about 320 eggs at a time, which of course 3 or 4 hens ain't gonna give us that many eggs at a time, but at least give me a chance. In the past, we have raised dual purpose birds, the blue copper Morans, and butchered some of those roosters. The flavor of them is delicious. The bird itself is pretty small, and you got to wait until like 22 weeks or so to butcher them.
Simply Dan says that she thinks they're just as good as the Cornish.
Jan thinks they're as good as the Cornish. Well, I'm telling you, if they're as good as the Cornish, I'm in. Our friends, we were actually talking to Gary and Cindy at Pathways about that. And they said the fat in the Freedom Rangers is more for a better flavor, and it's not all saturated fat, so it's better for you. They're a big fan of those Freedom Rangers.
Redbird Farm wants to know what weight do we butcher our Cornish hens?
Usually we butcher our Cornish to where a butcher weight right around 4.5 to 5 pounds per bird. So that's gonna be, you know, an 8.5 to 10 pound bird, roughly. In the past, we've got a lot of our Cornish cross from whelp hatchery, but I was looking at whelp, and I think I can get Cornish here pretty quick, but everything else was a ways out. There's actually a hatchery not very far over into Missouri, south of Simply Jan, in Lebanon, Missouri, called Cackle Hatchery, and they have these color yield Freedom Rangers where you could get them right now, and I may get those because it'll be pretty quick to me. They'll be pretty fresh. But we've had good luck with whelp hatchery with the Cornish cross. Our friends use whelp uh, that are right around in this area. We've got a couple friends that do a lot of Cornish with us, and they use whelp. They've used Murray McMurray, and I'm trying to remember. There's another little one. Cackles, who you use, Jan. Um,
But anyway, yeah, it was very good. I enjoyed it. I'll be
So you're gonna
seeing
have
you
an
guys
order?
Probably a couple of weeks here beside you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get them ordered like quick. The way I now, it looked like to me, if I ordered through Whelp, I could actually get some Cornishes next week.
Yeah, I
So
think that's what you said.
that's my plan. Is this evening I'm gonna get them ordered. You know, we've never got any birds out of Murray McMurray, but a lot of people talk big about them. We've never got any birds from them. Like I say, we've always kind of raised our own in the past, other than the Cornish that we did order. The blue coppers, I hatched out probably, oh my goodness, I probably hatched 600 chicks or so of them last year, and we ate all the blue coppers ourselves. We loved the flavor of them. We sold all or sell all of our Cornish to people. Um, you know, our family, like the older kids, they take some of the blue coppers and they love them. Um, we think they're good for like chicken and dumplings or chicken noodles. I barbecue half them, so I cut them in half lengthways, and then usually I'll Cajun inject or rub them and then smoke them, those halves, and I really like them that way.
Gathered together said they got 49 plus from Freedom Ranger Hatchery at $1.75 each.
Really? I need to look into that. Freedom Ranger Hatchery. That's a pretty good price. Now, were those Freedom Rangers or were those the color yields? Because Nana is a little bit doesn't know about the red feathers on the Freedom Rangers. She said that she thought it would
I
be
thought
harder.
pin feathers might be
The pin feathers would be harder to find and get, or you'd be able to see more
black,
of them.
yeah.
Yeah,
or red or whatever.
black or red. Where the Cornish. That's the thing about a Cornish is, and you put them in a plucker and they're pretty much naked chicken immediately. Yeah, they're Freedom Rangers, but it's basically all the same thing the way I understand it. Hey, no problem, Cindy. No problem at all. We understand that life happens and that we're all busy, especially in this day and age.
I'm 36.
They've got
I graduated from Arvada.
they got a lot of
He graduated from Arvada.
ball tournaments going on in town. Start tonight, or not ball tournament, but ball games start. So t-ball and baseball and softball and stuff like that. So part of our crowds there watching. What Skinner Farm have to say?
I'll ask him.
That's a pretty good price, Josh.
Yeah.
That's real good. And the way that we can sell chicken, that's a pretty good return on investment. Even if you're putting them in your own freezer, that's pretty cheap protein. We do a lot of focus on hogs. We've got 10 hogs on feed and out in pastures. Well, they were on pasture, but 3.5, 4 inches of rain 2 nights ago. We got to move them like immediately because they're already figuring out how to start mud holes, and I don't like mud holes. But where we found that poisonous hemp at was where I was planning on moving my hogs next to, or hemlock, not hemp, hemlock, poisonous hemlock, and so now I'm afraid to move them there because I'm afraid that it might kill them, make them sick. Yeah, I know that Cornish is not an egg bird. I actually know some people that kept some Cornishes, didn't feed them feed. I mean, they just fed them like egg layer ration and not very much of it at a time, and turned them out. And they've got some birds that are coming on 2 years old. They're big, and they can still get around, but I can't believe it. Um,
Okay. My little one.
yeah, poisonous hemp. Sorry, I misspoke. I mean, to some people, hemp is poisonous, but um, yeah, I misspoke. I meant hemlock. Um, yeah, we found, we actually seen that Facebook post and talking about how it's rampant this year, and man, were they right? It is like everywhere. I've
Oh,
started
it's
paying.
trying to take over our yard.
Yeah, we've got. In fact, we walk to the front of the house, which we never use our front door because our house is so small. That's actually part of the front room is in. Our chairs are in front of that door, and so we walked around to the front of the house when we were looking at the storm damage, and we got one like this tall growing in front of the front steps. We're like, it's trying to take over at the house. Big tractor rolling by here, like a 200 horsepower tractor with duals, front wheel assist, and a loader just rolled on by. So we've had we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do there. Um, they say that if it's just flowered out, you can go ahead and get by with just chopping it down and letting it disintegrate, break down. But if it's already went to seed, you're supposed to pull it or cut it off and gather it all up together and burn it. But make sure you stay out of the smoke because the smoke's toxic. And they say to spray it with glyphosate, Roundup, or something like that. That is pretty cool, Jan. Had 2 mallards show up and just joined in with your flock. Um,
Yeah.
we're not duck people. We don't care much for ducks. Um, we're so wet that they just like making mud puddles all over our yard, and then they, like our chickens, the ducks were the same way. They wanted to go to bed with us. They wanted to come to the house and go in the house with us. They thought they were house ducks or chickens. So we're not big fans of them.
I don't know if the vinegar works on it.
I've done some research, Cindy, and they say the vinegar doesn't really work on it too well. But I know a lot of people don't like Roundup. Me, growing up as a farm kid, I've been around Roundup and used it for a long time. A lot of people don't realize that Roundup or glyphosate, what it really was. Glyphosate actually was antibacterial hand soap, was what it was developed to be originally. So I can see that vinegar or, that home remedy of like vinegar and Dawn dishwashing soap and stuff like that of killing plants, it actually probably will work because it works on the same purpose. All right, Brenda, thank you so much for being in here. I appreciate it.
This is in Westminster, and they're right by that airport up there on the.
Vinegar doesn't work on goat weed. I guess I don't. I've never tried it. I don't really know. Yeah, a lot of people say burn it with a weed torch, but they say you don't want to be in it. That the smoke is really hazardous. So I think we're gonna have to figure out some stuff. So we'll probably put out some videos on trying to
Someone
eradicate
said,
it.
dump boiling water on it a while ago. Who was it that said that?
Dump
12
boiling?
Stone Ranch.
12?
Dump boiling water over it.
I haven't heard of
I
that.
tried that.
We might try that on the one right outside the front door and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that is what, that's what they made Socrates drink and killed him with it. That's how they poisoned him, was poison hemlock and stuff like that. They used to use it, a lot of people used to use it to poison people. So it is deadly.
I never experienced it
Yeah, we're yeah, I think Jan is pretty right, Josh. I mean, that's about what we're at on them. You know, I think that's not too far off, especially when people find out that, you know, you're raising those birds on pasture, on grass, and they're not living a whole life in their own filth and eating a bunch of stuff they shouldn't be eating. Um, you know, we use that all natural feed and grass. And believe you me, um, if anybody hasn't tried it, if you try one that's been on raised on grass compared to one that hasn't, you'll go back to that one every time. There's something to it. It adds such a different makeup in that bird. It'll taste so much different. Oh, you do? Well, I wish I could get more of them. Yeah, guy, I'm telling you, I don't know about you other channels that are on here, but that that we're having a struggle trying to get our t-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Our t-shirts, we've got a hold of the t-shirt lady and they're on back order. I talked to the hat guy. He can't get any more of these Richardson hats. So we're kind of in a struggle bus on getting some merch out. And we're getting close enough to that 1,000 now that we're going to have something.
We're getting nervous.
We're starting to get nervous.
Because we already made that promise, yeah.
And Mitchell, I bet that could be arranged, buddy, on a hat. Maybe in exchange for an exchange. Thanks for that, Cindy. We appreciate that. But yeah, it's been a fun ride on this subscriber influx that we've got going on. We appreciate everybody there. I tried trying something new on the. I tried out TubeBuddy, and I'm gonna have to watch more of Mr. Boots and Bounty on that because I'm not really understanding the whole justification behind it.
Reach out to Full Blown Country. He does shirts and hats.
You know, I noticed, I seen his live the other night when he was talking about doing that, so I'm going to reach out to him for sure. Yeah, back to, there was another question there. What was it? Oh, our watch hours, Cindy. Our watch hours are probably, we got about half of what we need, so we definitely need watch hours. We have had this great channel and subscriber that has been watching about all of our videos and commenting on them, and we really appreciate them, like really appreciate them. So they'll probably get some merch headed their way.
Yep.
We have James Jesse. Yeah, goats can't eat poison ivy because we had a lot of goats. Yeah, they do a number on poison ivy. They do a number on greenbriers. Of course, they love Cerisa lespedeza. We used to love turning goats out. We had a place that, I mean, you couldn't throw a softball through this without hitting a tree and brush. And we would turn them, put them in small paddocks, and it would just clean it off. It all looked nice. And we got a lot of good utilization out of it. I agree, Josh. There's only so much time in a day. That's kind of me. And I'm starting to get enough friends on YouTube, other creators, that it's starting to get hard to watch everybody's stuff.
It is.
Hemlock is poisonous to goats. That's what I found out. Hemlock is pretty much poisonous to everything from what I can see. Okay. appreciate that if you want to check into that. In fact, I thought about reaching out to Chris at Chris and Larry Homestead, because I know she does shirts out there also.
Worst mom of the year. Hey, Emily. You run into the
You put him on the back burner? Really? Not us. We'll put Mitchell right up front with everybody else. But
There's a lot of times if there's lives, he'll have the computer, one going on the TV, one on his computer, one on his phone.
yeah, I've started becoming one of those guys. I've got one live going on the Roku, one live going on my laptop on my lap, and one live on my phone. 3 different channels, or I'm watching a video on my phone while I'm on live on the computer, and got someone else's on the TV all playing at the same time, trying to help everyone out with watch hours and views. You know, I'm not promoting a sub for sub whatsoever, but I definitely want to support those friends of mine that are in the same thing.
Yes.
I know he knows you're messing with him. Willoway Ranch is in the house. Gathered Together Homestead. You guys are awesome.
Have a good evening.
All right, yeah. Have a good evening. So nice of you to drop in. We'll be looking for more of your stuff to come out too. We've got, how many people we got in here? We got 9 people in. We tuned in last night to some lives and got some chats on there. We got in MT Homesteads. We were on with the Vineyard Farmhouse, and Tree Haven was in there. I like talking to Jess from Tree Haven. He's kind of got the same kind of sense of humor I've got, a little bit sarcastic. So
So it's essentially just a square doghouse.
Cool.
And it's got a door that you shut.
Jan
Oh no.
had 6 kittens today. Jan wasn't expecting kittens, and now she's got kittens.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny. Oh, hey, we know
That's great.
we know about stories like that. Well, that's kind of I had farrow quail last summer, and coming into the winter, I'm like, I don't want to deal with the ice and all that kind of stuff, so I kind of eliminated all of them. But 2, I thought I had a boy and a girl, and so this winter, I'm sitting there and I'm taking care of those 2, and all of a sudden, as I'm pouring feed, the one on this side of the coop, he started crowing. And then the one on that end started crowing too. I'm like, oh no, I got 2 boys. So we have 2 full-grown farrow quail boys. But hey, we got something interesting last Saturday that I haven't shared with anybody yet.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of little bitty fuzzballs like this big. They're white Coturnix quail. So I'm back in the quail business. I wasn't really looking for white Coturnix quail because of that reason. Usually those farrows or those wilds or the browns, you can pretty much sex them by the breast, you know, if they have speckles or a hen. If they're solid, then they're a rooster.
Well, you can't.
Well, I didn't, obviously. But these whites, I got to doing research on them. You can't tell at all. You just got to wait until nature takes its course. Then you can find out. So we're going to have a bunch of quail eggs, hopefully coming pretty soon. And they're 2 weeks old, so they're just little fuzzballs right now. And our power going out to the barn, I don't know if lightning has got to it or something. I got to look into that this weekend. But we don't have power out to the barn, so I couldn't hook up a heat lamp out there. So
They're in the house.
yeah, Nana's real excited. They're in the house right now in a tote, which they're just little bitty guys, but they're a lot of fun.
Josie loves them.
Yeah, our granddaughter loves them.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh
Pet is
no!
pregnant,
I got a story for you on kittens. My grandma, this has been like long time ago. My grandma, they had a dairy, their whole life, and she had all those cats around the dairy. And when I was a kid, we got to looking around one day, working on some equipment, because it seemed like everywhere you went there was a different cat, and you look down, there's like 10 cats around you. So we finally started counting. There was like 52 or 3 cats just that we could see around there, and there had never been any new cats, so they were all like inbred. And so me and my cousin, we started catching them and asking people in school and everything else if they wanted kittens. And well, we catch these kittens and you count, and some of them have like 6 and 7 toes on their front feet and stuff like that, because they'd inbred for so long. So they needed to thin out the population and introduce some new blood into that population. But so Jan, you better figure out where to get rid of them, or else you're going to be in the same boat.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it's nice having some cats around the homestead to keep down the rats and mice and all that goody. But we don't have many cats on our place. In fact, we don't have any.
No, we have the neighbor cats that come
have a
over.
neighbor cat that come over, like a big old yellow tomcat comes once in a while. And I'm not a big fan of him because he's always eyeballing all my chickens, and when I have little chicks and everything. And so I try to chase him off as much as I can.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's kind of like, we've got 2 hens sitting on, I bet there's probably 25 eggs. And these two hens are like side by side in this nest in the barn, and you can't get close to either one of them. I mean, they are mean, like peck you a hole right through you. They're mean.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're going to have a bunch of chicks out of them, and we're going to try to catch all those chicks and put them in a brooder and start raising them up. I mean, Mama could raise them, but like I say, with the tomcats and the coyotes and the coons and everything else, they'll be eliminated pretty fast if I don't put them in a brooder or something.
Yep.
We're actually going to have a new video come out tomorrow afternoon. It'll be actually, I guess it's the second video in the Justin Rhodes series. The first true video about how we farm different than Justin Rhodes. Like she does every live.
4, 3.
Count to 10. She's going to call Nana here in a second.
Oh, she hasn't called me yet.
But she doesn't quite understand the whole live on YouTube. My mom doesn't have YouTube. She doesn't have Facebook. She doesn't
have internet.
She doesn't even have internet. She doesn't have a smartphone. There she is now, calling Nana. In fact, her phone is a dinosaur. I call it a dinosaur phone. It's a flip phone.
Not much.
She can't take pictures of anything and send it, or get pictures if I send them to her. So.
Hi.
Yep.
How are you? I'm just standing over there.
I don't know how anyone else's parents are, or maybe you're that way, to not have any kind of a smartphone. We have smartphones, that's all we have. And in fact, that's really the only phones we have.
Freshman.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to get a video made, Josh.
Okay.
Indian
Road. Okay.
Did you ever get on live with Mitchell last Saturday? I stuck in there for so long, and he kept waiting, and I never seen you get in there. But hopefully I can
Yeah, he's live.
get in on being on live with one of you guys on a Saturday to do a little bit of talking with you guys. I heard it kind of might have turned into just open mic or something like that. You know, that was funny. That's what he finally got in there for a minute. Well, that's good. I mean, that as long as he showed up, that's what counts, right? That's what I tell people. I mean, just be happy I showed up, you know. Hey, I understand the signal deal. I'm just joshing with you, Skinner Farms, because we fight the losing internet service a lot. That 25-minute video that I uploaded about the I might have to turn this off if people think they got to listen to music when they come up here blaring.
We're in the truck.
I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything like that from it.
Jars right now.
But it took me like 12 hours to upload that 25-minute video.
Oh, okay.
I am this Saturday. I've got a prior commitment this Saturday, but the following Saturday I'm open. So if you want to put me down for then, I'd sure be available for that Saturday. This Saturday, actually, I did have a prior commitment. I'm got a picnic dinner and awards banquet that I'm supposed to go to, and it starts at like. Well, what time does yours start? Because I got to be there at like 10:30 or so. So I'd have to leave the house by 10 o'clock. Our time, Central Time, which is also your time, Mitchell. But I'm so that internet struggle is pretty hard. Like the storm video that we put out yesterday, I started trying to download it or upload it to YouTube, and because I wanted it out by noon, and I don't remember what time it finally got out, probably 4 o'clock, but I started trying to upload it at about 10:30, and oh, it is at 10. Yeah, I'll have to leave the house right then. So, like I say, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, which I think that's the 11th. I'd sure be in on it if you want to get together on that one.
Can I take one of your cards? Absolutely.
But
Oh, no, you don't need one.
Nana, what do you think's new on the 9 acres? Nana's got new candles going on, and we just had to order her a bunch more supplies. We went to auctions again this week, and Nana's car is loaded clear to the roof with mason jars that we bought at an auction, and they're all really, really good. Everything from half pints to quarts to gallons, everything. So we're kind of set up there for a little while. A lot of jelly jars and stuff like that we wouldn't want to use for canning, to like purchase jelly jars. But they're really neat to put candles in. She got the lids and everything for them. No kidding, Jan.
You say you guys have jelly jars, you don't, you're not too, you want to sell?
I don't know. We'll talk about it. Okay.
We spent a lot of time at that estate auction, and so a lot of them are, damaged or are like mayonnaise jars and things like that, and they thought we wanted all them. We just don't. We're not going to trust that kind of thing. $30 to 30 minutes for a 23-minute video. My goodness, I wish I had your internet. I mean, I did a internet speed test at our house, and it was 0.9 gigs per minute upload, and we had like five or six download speed. So it was horrible. I could do better by unhooking from my Wi-Fi and just going off of nothing but my phone service. But I think Jan's internet speed isn't much faster than what I gathered. Well, guys, I've been on here I think long enough. I'm sure glad that you all stopped by. Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm glad you guys are all been in my life. I'm gonna let you go and get back to the farmers market. But thanks so much for joining us tonight, and God bless you all and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Talk to you later. Bye.